Welcome everybody to Discussion and Drinks, where Jimmy has something on his nose,
Maybe.
but also, it might be an illusion. Magic. We have gone to podcast movement, and it has changed so many things, but it has not changed one thing, and that is how much we enjoy doing this.
That is true. In fact, it probably actually brought upon more enjoyment.
Right. More excitement, more enjoyment. Yeah. I am
a renewed vigor,
if you will. So we're going to get into Discussion and Drinks, and we're going to talk about that and all the things and how we're changing a little bit. Right.
Vigorous.
I thought you were going to say now.
Oh, I had vigorous in my mind.
Oh.
Now.
Bacon is my podcast. Bacon is my Bacon is my podcast. Bacon is my
Well,
we are here.
We're here.
Here we are.
In the BIMP Lounge.
We are one and all. And all for one.
Mm-hmm. We're two musketeers.
Yeah, we are two musketeers.
3 if you count Scary.
Count
Scary if you're nasty.
Scary's always counted.
Yeah. It was a cool experience that we had. We're going to talk a little bit about it, but we're also going to try a brand new whiskey.
Yeah.
A Japanese whiskey.
Shout out and thank you to our friend Stacy.
Yeah.
Who got us a whiskey to try.
Yeah. Because it was National Waffle Day.
We celebrate National Waffle Day.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a celebratory day.
I like waffles a lot.
I'm a fan of waffles. I like their work. I prefer them to pancakes.
I do too.
Just because there's crispy bits.
Right. And there's little like nooks and crannies that you can add.
Pockets of syrup.
Oh. Or even like little fruit things.
Yeah.
Little fruit things are great.
Or like little pockets for your syrup and then your like spicy chicken grease and chicken skin.
What about a pocket for Nutella?
I'm not a Nutella guy.
What?
Yeah. Okay. I like it, oddly enough. I'm not. Hazelnuts aren't my jam. I don't mind them. Like I like them. But Nutella is like so much hazelnut.
Sure. Yeah. Well,
because it's a hazelnut spread.
I feel like almost like it's chocolate.
It's chocolate, but it's like the ratio to hazelnut and to chocolate is not to my liking.
So I've opened up this bottle. It's got a nice little cork to it.
That's
Shinju.
It smells like paint thinner.
Shinju.
Am I wrong?
No. I guess Shinju Japanese whiskey. We've had the
I like how red it is.
Yeah, it is a little bit red,
right? Which I find interesting. I wonder. I'm going to use the Google real quick.
Let's use the Google machine. While he uses the Google machine, I just wanted to remind you guys that we are absolutely ecstatic to be joined by Deafbird and our other patrons over at patreon.com/baconsmypodcast.
Yes.
They can watch this live. They can participate live.
Absolutely.
And you can too, going over there.
Just jump over there. Any of the tiers you can jump on. So here's what we have to look forward to. Apparently, well, should we do this or should we taste it? And then I'll read you these and you can be like, yep, I tasted that. Oh, for sure I tasted that. Let's do that. That's more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want you to ask
I've seen it. So now, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Cheers to you. We're trying this Shinju Japanese whiskey.
Okay. So, what I will say is that while it does taste like a strong alcohol, it does have a taste to it, and I don't hate it.
There's a smoothness to it that is betrayed by its scent.
Yeah.
Because it smells
okay.
like there's going to be no smoothness
No,
whatsoever.
It smells like it's gonna hurt and be sad.
Yeah, but it actually is rather smooth.
Yeah.
So here's what you should be tasting. You tell me. We're going to go down the checklist. So, nose waves of
Paint
acacia honey.
Is that paint thinner?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
So honey,
Mhm.
orange peel, and slick vanilla.
Well, what's the difference between vanilla and slick vanilla? Because slick
It's the
vanilla
paint
is
thinner.
paint thinner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Accompanied by hints of garden herbs. I get that.
Mhm.
Toasted oak. I don't get that. So that's smell
Oaky.
wise.
No,
That's
I
the
do get a little bit of the
smell.
oaky. I get.
So you
There's
know what?
some oaky.
I'm okay.
I smell the orange.
I am getting an orange peel.
I smell the orange.
Yeah.
And I get the oak. Slick vanilla.
I get orange peel and like the herbiness of it.
Yeah, slick vanilla. If that means paint thinner, yes.
That was my nickname in high school.
No,
Slick
was it?
vanilla.
No, was it?
Yeah, I was in a breakdance group, and I was Slick Vanilla.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, that was me. It was like Slick Vanilla coming to the cardboard. And I would.
I need our buddy Brian Speaker to weigh in on this.
He knows. He knows. That was Slick Vanilla.
Okay. I'm gonna reach out to him.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna do a
come
little
on,
R&D.
come on. Breakdancing crew, me, Slick Vanilla. You goddamn right.
Okay, what do we get on the taste
So
side
on the
here?
palate,
What do we get on the taste side here?
on the palate we have apple, gingerbread, chewy toffees, with hints of savory oak, and subtle praline.
Praline.
We also have the finish of sandalwood and rich dates is the linger.
Okay, so sandalwood.
Sandalwood I'm getting because I'm getting a woodiness to it, but it's not
funny
oak to
because
me.
a lot of my hygienal products, my toiletries, if you will. There we go.
Gotcha.
Toiletries
Okay.
is the word I was looking for. Toiletries have a sandalwood in it.
Okay, so
sandalwood is
your
is
balls
one of
smell
my
like
favorite-
sandalwood.
When I use my sandalwood soap. Yes, they do.
Nice. That's
My
that's probably
balls-
a good smell for balls.
My balls, my beard, sometimes my hair.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sandalwood is pleasant.
Testicles, face, cheeks.
Exactly.
I don't get the apple. Apple, there's
Um,
a crispness that I'm not getting. But I am definitely getting that orange peel. Toffees, I'm
Maybe
not
the
getting.
sweetness. Oh, the toffee is like the taste of brown.
Well, toffee
Take
kind
a
of
sip and
caramel.
tell me you don't go, oh, it tastes like brown.
Oh, you're right. Okay. You're right.
Sometimes.
Yeah, and that's coming
It's
from
not a
Slick
lot.
Vanilla.
I don't believe you.
T-shirt's coming.
Only going to take a month. Well, this doesn't come out for like 2 weeks.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Cover the Ice is out now.
It is out.
All right.
It is out.
So
You're right.
shut your sandalwood balls.
You can smell them one day if you feel nasty.
If I smell them, I'm definitely feeling nasty. We were in a hotel for the week and a car for many hours. I didn't smell them once, so you're doing well.
Yeah.
Dates, I'm not getting either. Dates are an interesting flavor. There's like a sweetness to them, but also like a savoriness, but that's not a salty. You know, like, are you familiar with dates? Do you eat dates?
Sometimes, but they're usually in a sweet context.
So there's a bar not far from where my family home is in Indiana, called the Black Sparrow, and they serve bacon wrapped dates,
And
that are fantastic.
do they sell Johnny Depp's Fountain of Youth water?
They do not, because I
Okay.
asked,
Okay.
but yes, that is exactly where that name came from. But yeah, they do sell bacon wrapped dates.
Well, that's so you associate it. You've got it wrapped with bacon, so you associate it with the salt.
Right.
Whereas I've had
But
dates,
they're-
and
but
they're
they're-
good. They're
They're savory in a way that's not salty though. The bacon adds the salt. And I've had dates. Annie likes dates a
Okay.
lot.
well, yeah, you're
And
dating her.
figs. She
You're-
likes figs.
Yeah,
I don't know if she
figs.
likes dating, but I think she.
Oh.
I know she does like dates.
Yeah, you've taken her to some
I've
nice
taken
places.
her on a couple of dates. Yeah,
I know that.
and then shown her my sleek vanilla.
But I still don't believe you.
Yeah.
Still don't
She
believe
knows
you.
it's the flavor of sandalwood.
It's not. It's not.
Savor the flavor.
My wood smells
Sleek
like wood.
vanilla. Your wood smells like wood.
Apparently, sandalwood.
All right.
It's,
Yeah.
it's an actual wood.
I like that.
So
I like that.
Yeah.
I'll ask
not
Jen.
slick vanilla.
I'll ask Jen. I'll make it uncomfortable.
You should.
Jen, come here. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about it all day.
Hey, Jen, it's me, Slick Vanilla
Slick vanilla. You know,
from before.
Jimmy Slick Vanilla. I'm hitting you with the JSV.
Cheers to that.
Yeah.
Cheers to that. That was good.
Yeah.
If Opus Clip doesn't get this,
We'll find it.
no, we're gonna switch to Rizzle.
Yeah, we're gonna switch.
Switch to Rizzle.
Yeah. Speaking of that,
So yeah,
so over the past week, we had a chance to go visit something called Podcast Movement, and it was a convention or
conference,
conference?
convention, networking opportunity.
for podcasters.
yeah.
It was super informative, super fun.
Overwhelming. About
Overwhelming
how much
amount of
information
information.
there was.
Oh my god! Like, so we work conferences,
Right.
and it had that vibe, less clinical,
Well, yeah,
but that's
it's
fine.
not a medical conference, so yeah.
right? But then also like I've done like NAM, yeah, which is more of a. I thought it was going to be a lot like NAM because I assumed we were going to be going and looking at products and which we were,
Yeah.
like software companies and stuff. Here's where the future of the tech you're going to be using is. And then that was going to be mixed with here's where the future of this medium that we're in,
Mhm.
podcasting, right? And if you're not a podcaster, you're not into podcasting or anything like that, we're not going to get into all that stuff, but it
Yeah.
does apply still to everybody because it's more about like, so we've been doing this thing that's been a passion of ours, and we've done it for 3 years now, where it's been fun, but it's also been work trying to turn it into like a tangible, maybe not a job, but like we'd like to have it as a job,
Yeah. Income, if you will.
Yeah, so trying to make it successful. So anything that you do that's not your normal job, that takes a lot of work and a lot of effort, and it takes putting money in and putting time in, and you're trying to up your return on that investment, and that's what this has been for us. So it's comparable to lots of things
Sure.
that you guys would be doing. Whether you're on a bowling league or a softball team or whatever kind of extra thing, or you're in a band, or you're whatever else you're doing. So we decided to put the money and the time into going to this conference to kind of learn more about the medium and about what we're doing. And what we learned is that luckily our instincts so far have been pretty good about how we're doing this.
Mhm.
Right? But the one thing that we were asked that threw me off, that's been throwing me off for probably the last year.
Well, I think it's like it's been something that we've been discussing
Yeah.
for
What is this?
at least a year,
Yeah.
if not more.
Define your show.
No, it's definitely more than a year.
What does it mean? What is it for? And that's been the biggest thing for us, because at the end of the day, we're trying to entertain you. So we're trying to make content that either entertains you or makes you think or is just something that you want to come back to because you either like us, or you want to learn about the bands that we have on, or whoever we have on, or it's kind of like that. What master are we serving? What are we trying to do here? And for both of us, it's funny because we're both musicians, so our actions were making this into like basically a very music forward, music centric podcast.
Right.
But if you were to ask us what our goal was, our
It's
goals
not
were
that.
very much like not that. It was more like, hey, we want to make something that entertains people but makes people think about their own lives and look for the stuff that they enjoy to do, to remind people to take a second and enjoy your bacon.
Right.
You know, that thing that you nerd out about, like spend some time on it. And we wanted to have a show where like people were able to come on and talk about theirs, and that was allowing the listeners to kind of like find a camaraderie with people. And if that helped people, if that helped musicians get their song listened to, awesome.
Yeah.
Right. But it's been super hard trying to figure out how to define that, or to present it to you guys in a way that achieved that goal.
Right.
I don't know if, as listeners, you guys were getting that from the show. Please let us know if you were or you
Sure.
weren't. But that's always been the goal. So going to this was very much like it was like, okay, it's time to really define this.
Yeah,
And-
that was the first thing that I was very much going into this as, because we've been posing that question. It's something that you brought up a little while ago, and I was
Right.
like, yeah, you're right. Like, yeah, what is this? What are we doing? What is our end goal here? And it was something that never truly clicked, because we were missing something. We were missing like a vital piece of information.
Right. Our North Star.
Right.
You know, or at least just
No, we had our North Star.
defining it.
What's your bacon?
defining
Right.
it, you know?
But how we approach it.
Yeah. So I don't want to jump completely to like ahead to the end of the conference.
Yeah, right.
But we sat down with somebody that that listened to the show
As a first time,
as a
Cold,
first time cold listener. Sat down with us, and the first thing he said was, okay, I see you guys are in the music space, but you sound like you're trying to be in the comedy space. And that was his first thing. And I was like, wow, neither of those things are what I'm thinking we're going for. Like, we're musicians and we love music, and we also hope that it's entertaining and funny.
Mm-hmm.
But neither of those things are where I wanted to be with this show, and you as well. So it was like, oh man, somebody that doesn't know us and is just coming in, we're getting that first opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what impression did we make? And it was that. And so right away I had to be like, oh man, I don't know about you, but like my brain, as soon as he said that, was like, oh, we have to change things.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have to make some changes. I wasn't sure what those changes were. The first thing that stands out, that's like the obvious one, is if it's like, oh, you guys are trying to be in the music space, it's like, oh, we need to interview less bands.
Right.
Or maybe not interview less bands, but just have more different kinds of people in from different walks of life. Or if we're going to interview bands, we need to not talk to them about music. We need to not talk to them about songwriting, not talk to them about gear or tech stuff.
Right.
Because that's interesting to us and that's fun to talk about. But how does that relate to an audience? And
especially an audience that isn't necessarily musicians.
Right. You know, like maybe it's fun for everybody to listen to us nerd out on gear, but probably not if we do it 3 episodes in a row.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And the other thing too is that, especially with musicians, and when you're doing interviews one after another, or like 2 in a row, or even 2 in a row and then 2 next week or whatever, there are a number of things that can happen, right? So like you could not be hitting it off with somebody,
Sure.
but know they're a musician and they said something about something gear wise, and you dive at that and you're
Right.
like, okay, that we can
connect.
we can get it, we can get a thing. And then your next episode sometimes could sway that way because you've already been in that mindset.
Right.
And then that could carry over till the next week. You know, unless you are really vibing with somebody and they're taking you on to a different
I didn't even
direction.
think about that. That makes a lot of sense. That's really smart. Like,
yeah,
because if we are, or even just if we're talking to somebody, say we're talking to somebody about songwriting, right, and then we end that episode and get on with somebody else. We've been thinking and talking songwriting for an hour.
Yeah.
And maybe there were a couple questions that we didn't get to ask them, or maybe the next person brings up a similar thing. It's really easy to fall right back into that conversation.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, Jimmy and I, after a 5.5-hour car drive,
yes,
we did acknowledge and realize, and lunch prior to that, music
at Nando's, which was great.
Nando's Chicken, not a sponsor, but
awesome.
We'll gladly eat your chicken whenever.
You can sponsor
Come
an
to
episode.
New York.
Sponsor
Come
an
to New
episode,
York, please. But yeah, I think that we acknowledge the fact that, yeah, the music route is our comfort zone. It's a crutch. It's something that is a lot of fun to us particularly. But it's time to start expanding and trying to not move completely away from it, but stop focusing on it because it's what we know.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be really important and really, really a focus on this show as we possibly get less guests on.
Yeah. So that's the other thing is we also have realized that by catering to a very guest first experience, what we're doing is we're creating an environment for single serving listeners,
right?
For people to just come in and listen because they like the band, and then if we're not giving them anything to come back on, there's no reason for them to come back. And I don't know if this is stuff that we should be talking about to you guys, but it's just, this is where our heads are at. And this is what we're thinking, because yeah, as much as that sounds like, oh, they're trying to sell something to us, but it's like, yeah, we want there to be a reason for us to be. I mean, we don't need to sell anything to you. We could turn these cameras off and we could have just as much fun talking to musicians, sitting here with a drink and talking to each other. We would do all of that anyway. But the premise of the show at the very beginning was letting people kind of be a fly on the wall. We started with that, and then we moved on to, we kind of stumbled on this, like, what's your bacon thing, which turned into kind of like a thing that I'm really interested in. One of my bacons is learning. And it's talking to people, and it's hearing experiences, and sharing those experiences, and if
learning their process.
Yeah, and if we stay just in our comfort zone of music, then we're not even really doing our bacon, right? Because we're just talking to people about stuff that we know enough about to carry on a conversation. And sure, we learn things here and there, which is great, and that's amazing, and we'll continue to do that. But talking to somebody outside of music about what they're talking to anybody, let's not even talk about music, just talking to another human being about something that they're passionate about, and letting them geek out and trying to learn about why they're geeking out.
Yeah.
And like, that's the cool thing. And that's the thing I want our audience to be able to do. Like, if we're talking to somebody and you and them start talking about like a technical aspect of mixing that you're super geeking out on, right? I might not know anything that you're talking about, but watching you get excited about it and watching you guys talk about how passionate you are about it starts making me think like, what am I this passionate about? And then it makes a connection of like, oh, well, I'm this passionate about getting into making artwork on something. And oh, I see how that connects, or I see how that passion connects, or I'm this excited about, Marvel movies, right? Oh, this is how I talk about fucking Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Like those things, those connections, watching somebody just really get into what they're talking about allows you to kind of get whipped into their excitement, and it helps you learn about a new thing, but also learn a little bit about yourself, right? What's up, guys? Are you a fan of Bacon Is My Podcast? And you're like, where can I find more stuff?
Well, we got the site for you at baconismypodcast.com. That's where you can find literally everything. It's the portal to his stuff, my stuff, and our stuff, including Bacon's My Fashion.
You can find t-shirts, you can find hats, you can find all kinds of stuff to put on your body parts. You can also check out all of our awesome sponsors, get discounts. We always have the most recent and the best prices for you. And check it out also over at patreon.com/
Bacon Is My Podcast. Never changing.
Never changing. Find us at baconismypodcast.com. Thanks for checking it out, guys. And remember to ask yourselves,
what's your bacon?
World peace.
And we want to be that reminder. We want to be that reminder of embracing your bacon and taking the time out of your day to do that. To be able to pursue something you're passionate about. It, as you get older, you realize that not everybody's able to do that.
Yeah.
And flip side, we just recorded an episode that's going to come out in a couple of weeks with a band. Actually, it's going to come out soon, very, very soon.
Right.
And basically, they talk to us at the end of the episode about, as musicians, sometimes as humans, that you take a liking to something and you immediately go, well, how do I become a professional at that?
Right.
And I fall into it.
Me too.
Daily.
Me too.
And it's something I think that all of us do, but I think it's important that we identify those little things in life that we love doing, but maybe don't want to pursue professionally. Like,
you don't have to.
Like cooking. I love doing it. I love the process of it. I love the preparation and the, I enjoy it. I don't want to be a chef.
Right.
I don't want to cook for other people. People have brought up to us.
I was going to say,
like, you guys should start a food truck.
Do a food truck. Yeah. And tell me you haven't thought about that.
Yeah.
Right? Like I have too. And then the logistics of everything get into it. And I'm like, man, I just want to enjoy this for enjoying it.
Yeah.
And that works for anything. Like I have friends that are songwriters, to take it back to that it's like there's no need to get into the nitty gritty and the dirt of what it takes to kind of release a song and try and promote it and make a thing out of it and all that kind of stuff. If you just like writing songs, you can like writing songs, and you can write songs and they can be amazing, and you can record them and you can put them out, and you could never like get into the dirt
right
of all the other stuff. And it's perfectly cool and it's perfectly fine. And the process is way more enjoyable that way.
Yeah.
Or can be.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with cooking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with like
video games,
anything. Like if you get really good at games, you don't suddenly have to start streaming.
Right.
And try and enter a competition. If you want to, and that excites you too, then absolutely do it. But we tend to fall into these things where it's like, you start to feel like if you're going to put a bunch of time into something, you have to figure out a way to make it pay back.
Right.
right? It's
Sure.
like, oh, well, if I'm going to take time out of my day to do this, I should probably try and figure out a way to make it financially
Right.
do something back for me.
You know,
And the older you get, the more that happens.
yeah. And I, you know what? I think the one thing, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I do think that it's probably one of those things that, like cooking, you've definitely never completely dove into to do. The one thing for us would probably be wrestling.
Yeah. Sure.
Because we can spend hours watching it
Right.
and always be like, I'm not going in there.
Right.
If presented the opportunity,
I would do it once.
to do stuff, to do something, I'll take a chair to the head.
I would do it
I'll
once.
take a cookie sheet to the head. Let's do it.
But
but-
I'd be like, yeah, let me be a manager.
Yeah, no, but like, it's not.
Yeah.
It's something that we're able to enjoy, and be an outsider.
Yeah.
And enjoy that way, as opposed to with music, how we're always, we're not insiders, but like we
Right.
do it. It's what we do. So, yeah.
Well, to some extent, we are insiders.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Inside a mindset.
we're in the business.
Yeah.
We're doing all the things. We're it's a job.
Right.
All that kind of stuff. But I guess the point is really like, whatever you do, don't feel guilty about enjoying what you do just for enjoying it, and don't feel like you have to make it
Your job.
make it financially work for you. You know, like, sometimes it's good to just have things that are fun, and you don't have to justify spending your time on it. Spend your time on it. That's you time. That's mental health shit. That's like, that's that. But so what does that mean for you? What does that mean for the show? Why does that matter at all? What it means is,
Well, first off, it doesn't.
right. Well, it doesn't mean anything for you. Like,
But it does.
it means for the show moving forward, there's going to be some changes.
Mhm.
So one of those changes is that instead of, if you're used to 7 questions and then a companion show that is the conversation 2 days later, we are now going to make that all into one thing. Because the idea is we're going to bring people on that are interesting, or that have an interesting story or something interesting to talk about. And we're going to use 7 questions to get to know them. And then we're going to find out what their bacon is. And then that's what that show is going to do. And that show is going to be called What's Your Bacon, in 7 questions, with Bacon Is My Podcast.
Correct.
And that is its own thing. And that is our interview show.
Right.
It's just going to be a conversation where we're trying to find out what that thing is for that guest.
And those 7 questions will come from the pool of 7 questions and 7 questions for repeat offenders.
Yes. So we're going to randomize it.
Yeah.
So it's not the same 7 questions for everyone, and it's not the same 7 questions every week.
But it is 7 questions you're familiar with.
Yeah, it's all the ones you're familiar with. But that way we're able to keep it fresh, and we're able to keep it kind of moving every week. And it's not going to be centered on just musicians. It's going to be, it could be a musician, it could be an actor, it could just be someone we find interesting, to be honest.
Yeah,
That we think might have a cool story to tell, or that just might be fun to talk to.
exactly.
And that is going to be one show. And then the main show, I would say probably, of this is going to be Discussions and Drinks. And it's going to be Discussions and Drinks with Bacon Is My Podcast. We will be titling them different, just so they show up different in your searches, so that people can search for them and know what they are. Right. And Discussions and Drinks is going to be this. It's going to be the 2 of us talking about anything and everything. but we're going to have a little bit more direction, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like you know, we get on with our amazing patrons, including Pinky. Thank you.
Yes. Hello,
Again.
Pinky. How you doing?
Again, I don't know if you saw the beginning, but you know, sorry I didn't make it yesterday, but happy belated, or no, it's not your birthday yet.
It's still belated. No,
it's early.
it's early.
Yeah. So yeah. But yes, we love you, Pinky. Thank you. I forgot where I was going with that.
So, discussions and drinks.
Oh, right. We get on here. We get on here with our patrons, and we just kind of go, all right, man, what do you want to talk about? What went on this week? And we just do.
Yeah.
We just do our thing. And
we're going to look ahead a little bit more. We're going to say, hey, these episodes are going to come out in October. So maybe we're going to talk about, maybe we'll have an episode where we're discussing Halloween or paranormal or things like that. And at times we will bring on a guest in discussions and drinks to have a long form discussion on whatever that topic is.
Right.
Right. So there is sometimes it'll be someone that we found through 7 questions, and it'll be like, we didn't get enough of their bacon in 7 questions. And so we'll invite them back to be like, hey, we want to talk more about this. We want to know more about this. This is going to be interesting for everybody. So come back on and let's do it. So this is going to be a little bit more structured, not much.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, we had a structure for this, and look where we are now.
Exactly.
So
exactly,
you know, we're gonna do the drink thing.
It's
we're
still
gonna
structured around having a drink and talking some shit.
Right. Exactly. So there's gonna be some tweaks to the show, and you know, so we discussed it on this car ride home. Well, we started discussing it at Nando's. Again, not a sponsor, but delicious
Peri peri chicken.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I wonder if they sell their sauces.
Oh, I bet they do.
That's something I should have looked into.
Side note, yeah.
Sidebar. Nando's is my new bacon.
Nice.
How
many times did you talk about it over the past couple of days?
With Jen, like several times.
Yeah.
It was like it doesn't cost a lot. And it's delicious. It didn't make me feel like shit.
I couldn't believe that you had never experienced it before. I was very surprised.
I'm now that like we do a lot of travel.
Yeah.
And
we'll be looking
New York.
for it.
We'll be looking for Nando's.
For them. Yeah.
Where
that is the first one I've seen where we've been out together. Otherwise, I would have brought us to one before. I've only had it one other time. I think I remember where I was. But I had heard of it and I knew about it. You know.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, we're gonna have to. It's a thing. Yeah. But yeah, I think it'll. I think this will kind of rein things in a little bit in terms of our focus, and we'll still do what we do.
Sure.
I mean, one thing that I did learn, and you even said it, we don't have to be musicians to be able to engage in conversation.
Yeah.
We don't have to be musicians.
There was a lot of insecurity stuff.
I will say,
it was our door in.
I will say, more times than not, when we started speaking to somebody new, they did go, you guys in a band?
Right. Well, if any of you have any question in your head of like, oh, I wonder what the people that go to a podcast convention conference look and dress like. Not us.
Right.
So once again, sore
thumbs.
But I will say from day one,
oh my God,
we were the fun guys.
Yeah.
We were the fun guys, and I'm not the one that said that.
The Bacon Boys
we were the Bacon Boys. We walk into a place and they're like, "Oh, the Bacon Boys!" Yeah. Like, we made an impression. We did you proud. Got
represent.
Everybody was looking for us.
Yeah.
On the nights out.
Yeah.
they found us.
except for the last night.
Except for the last night.
And you know what? We heard about it on Sunday. Not Sunday, on Thursday.
That's true.
So, again, Sunday.
Right?
We
Yeah.
don't know what day it is today.
Yeah.
But yeah,
they'll
Thursday, the last day, they were kind of like, "Where were you last night?"
Right.
It's like, watching Joe Coy. We were in the hotel watching Joe.
I spent
Coy.
$50 on hot sauces at a hot sauce place.
Well, we also ate. Like
so I was like, I can't go out.
We tested like everything.
Oh man,
We tested everything.
how was your chimichurri steak?
That was fantastic.
I did a chimichurri chicken today
Oh yeah, how'd it go?
with a crispy rice. I
uh-huh.
made rice and then I did it in the frying pan to make like a crispy rice cake,
Uh-huh.
and I chimichurried it, and then did the chicken. It was awesome.
I actually, what I did was for the steak, I didn't douse it just in the chimichurri sauce.
Yeah.
I looked at the ingredients and kind of diluted it a little bit,
Mhm.
so this way it went a little bit longer
Yeah.
for the steak because it was a London broil.
Well, if you're gonna marinate it,
Yeah.
you want
And the tacos were fantastic. Jen was making.
taco.
Jen made flour tortillas as well.
Oh yeah, you told me about this.
So she made the flour tortillas, and I made the chimichurri steak. Aces, and then the next day for lunch. The reason why I'm not giving you any steak because I was like, oh, I gotta give this to Jimmy.
My first thought was like, oh man, I hope there's some left, and my second thought was like, there's not gonna be any left.
My first thought was I have to leave some for Jimmy.
Right, and I appreciate that. I love you for that, buddy. But
And
I
then-
know.
And
I
then
know,
at
I
lunch
get it.
yesterday, I was like, I'm making steak tostadas.
Yeah.
And sorry, Jimmy.
Fair. Absolutely fair.
But I got you a waffle day present.
That's
So
true. That's true.
There's a trade-off.
It's, hey, just to be thought of.
But
in a chimichurri steak situation
yeah,
is important.
but I do think we should probably do something chimichurri
We
with
should.
the remainder of our sauces.
We should maybe a skirt steak.
Ooh. I'll
Yeah.
cook a skirt steak like nobody's business.
I'll make it my business.
Okay. Challenge accepted.
Wow.
Slick.
Slick Vanilla J over here.
Fucking guy. Yeah. So
it's my nickname in high school.
it was not. It was not.
On my breakdance crew, the Breakmasters. That is a true statement.
Well, I know.
I was a member.
I
of
know
the
you were.
Breakmasters.
I know you were a member of breakdance.
Yes. I will.
I know
and it was named the Breakmasters.
that. I believe.
Super creative.
I believe that because it's again, yeah, super creative. But
Third
also,
place in the Rochester, New Hampshire Mall Lilac Mall Talent Show.
Oh,
still have the trophy.
why isn't it here on display?
Well, I don't have it. I don't have it like in my house. Like it's at my parents' place.
Can we
in a box of
Can we
things.
prominently display it somewhere?
My Breakmasters trophy.
Yes.
If I can, yeah, maybe I'll bring it when I go home for Christmas. I'll see if I
Yeah.
can find it.
Yeah, January. Can we please now prominently
Let's see.
display that?
Let's see if we can display my Lilac Mall Talent
It's
Show third place trophy.
It's an Olympic sport.
It isn't. Well, it's
You're-
not now.
What?
They took it off now.
Why?
Probably
Because of the
probably
meme?
because the Australian. Probably because the Australian,
That's
which
That's
I think
BS.
is wrong.
That's BS.
Wrong.
Just because somebody sucks at something, they were way better than
And you
I
know
was.
what? I
and
tell
they
you
were
what.
great.
I tell you what,
But also,
she didn't suck at it, but she read the assignment and did her own version,
which honestly,
which is, I mean,
that's what breakdancing is all
come
about,
on,
right?
you're gonna. So therefore, breakdancing shouldn't be an Olympic sport because it's counterculture. That's like making punk rock an Olympic sport.
Right.
You're like, who can punk rock the best?
Right. Okay.
Everybody get studying. Start practicing your punk rock so you can get really good at it and stunt your growth.
Oh man. Yeah. So we're making some tweaks. We're making some adjustments, and I don't think it's for the worse. Actually, I came into. Okay, I left the car ride, and every time I talked about the change in format, I spoke about it with Jen.
Uh-huh.
And there was a part of me that just kind of went, eh. Because it's change, right?
Right.
Change
Right.
is difficult. Change is scary, right?
Well, we have very different relationships with change, you and I.
See, for
Which
me,
I think works. I think that makes
for
it
me,
work.
change in most cases means like this band's over, I'm doing something new, and
Right.
that makes me feel better.
Right.
So
Okay.
so
Yeah,
that
yeah.
change, I'm okay.
Right.
Being this and going, I don't want to let go of this,
Right.
and then doing the change and being like, I don't want to let go of this.
It's really hard to let go of something that is at least working on some level.
Right.
Because then you're like, if I completely let go of it, then I don't know what's going to happen.
Well,
so
something I will
keep
say
a toe
too,
in.
right. So I was very, very worried about it. And we recorded our first episode in the new format, which quite honestly is not that different
No.
at all. At all.
It's more different to the listener than it is to us.
Right.
All we're doing is we're taking two shows, making them one.
Right.
Right. So that allows for tangents and things like that to happen more during the 7 questions, which I think is better.
I
Personally,
agree.
and
yeah,
living it today.
Well, the fact, yeah,
was this is better.
And I was so used to, I mean, for lack of a better word, policing, and just being like, okay, we'll talk about that on the show.
Right. Me too. I'm looking at the clock.
Right. So now it just allows so much more freedom for us to do that. And now we have a direction. We have a tangent.
We're going to need to get good at keeping it a little tighter.
Well, I think so. What?
Well, you guys let us know.
This is like an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So,
if it becomes too long for you, you let us know.
That's the one thing that.
But we're going to be making some shorter clips. And
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah. But I do want to say that a couple of things. So like, we are going to be coming to you guys more.
Yes.
And we're going to be asking you guys more.
Yes.
Because
you're a part of this.
You guys are the reason why we're doing this.
Yep.
And you guys are the reason why we want to make this better. And we want to make it more palatable for everybody.
And I'm just looking in our Patreon right now. I'm excited for the new things. Ooh, that sounds cool. Right? D&D is probably my favorite part. Like, I'm excited to see that play out. Like, things like that. Just even comments like that.
Yeah.
That tells me that, like, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah.
This is the right thing, because we're on this side of it. So we don't know if it's entertaining or if it's fun for you guys. And the other part of it that we kind of realized was we came into this and our immediate listenership was friends and fans of our music.
Right. And
you guys
also
give us a lot of leeway.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of rope that you guys, I can only speak for myself, but oh man, my friends and fans of my band and my music and people that have followed me and supported me, they are like, oh, you're going to hang yourself with this rope? I'm going to keep giving you a lot of it. Like, you guys are awesome with the support you give.
I also do want to say that because
I don't know
of
if
that,
anybody else is caring.
but because of that and how much rope you guys give us and how much support you give us, somehow that made us very big and very successful in a certain space.
Right.
And when you're looking at it from the music space, we achieved a lot of accolades. We got into, certain charts and certain positions and certain things.
Oh, can you put that up on the screen, please?
Yes.
Pinky, hold us accountable, 100%. Be the first to tell us if it sucks.
Yes, absolutely. In terms of the music space, apparently from what we've learned over the weekend,
Right.
it's very small.
Yeah.
So yeah, we charted very well in the music space. And in terms of music listenership, we're like, oh shit. Like,
Right.
this is great.
We're
This
doing
is
really
so
well.
cool.
Yeah.
And then you go into this big, it's an ocean
Yeah.
at podcast movement. And we go, oh, we are in a small pond.
Yeah.
And we're doing good for that pond, but
Well, it's
also
like finding out you won third place and then being like, how many people were in it? And they're like, 4.
right.
And you're like, oh,
Exactly.
right.
Exactly. That being said, that could have deflated a lot of people,
Nah, it's just exciting.
but
Right. It was like,
To
oh,
us-
cool. Okay.
to us, you know, our little podcast did start making some moves in the art, in the leisure and life
Yeah.
section. So
Which is where we want to be
is where we want to be. That was our focus from the beginning.
because we want to affect lives.
So that's the shift we're going to make.
Yeah.
We're going to make shift into that genre, and we're still going to be musicians because
That's our
can't take,
perspective.
you cannot take that out of us.
But
Like,
you know
that's not a perspective you can take out of.
You don't need the perspective of all musicians on the show because we already have
Right.
the perspective of musicians on the show.
Mhm.
So we will be getting the perspective of others
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
also just bullshitting with you guys while having a drink.
Yes. Exactly. With an actual topic in mind.
Yes. Yes.
The tangents will continue,
Yes.
but
Hopefully the fun will continue. And yeah, so that is the changes.
Yeah.
That is the thing. If you're on board, awesome. Thank you for being on board. If you've been on board this whole time, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. Hopefully this is a direction that actually makes the show more interesting and more fun to listen to and less redundant, you know, if it has been in the past. We hope you'll let us know. Stay in contact with us on the website or on all socials. If you're already a patron, you guys know we're live with you every week, and so that helps a lot. If you're interested in being a part of the Patreon, please jump over there and join in on this so you can help us shape the show and help us point the show. If you think you have an idea on how we can make this better, join us. Help make it better. You know, this is our show. Our meaning, not just me and Mike, but us, the patrons, listeners.
we start the camera up.
Yeah.
Right? You guys dictate where it goes.
And so we're just trying to help make that easier. So there's going to be changes coming. You'll see them. You'll feel them. You'll hear them. Some of them you won't see at all. It'll just kind of happen. There's going to be a lot of behind the scenes stuff
Right.
that's going to be changed as well, or just kind of worked on, tightened up. New things we're going to try. New things
Make it
we're going
tight.
to develop. Make it tight. So let us know what you think. Always let us know how you feel. It's super important that we are doing something that is fun and an escape for you, because it's fun and an escape for us. So that's the whole thing that we're trying to do here. So yeah, with that, I think we should probably leave here. We'll jump on with our patrons.
Hang with the patrons.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more with you guys about stuff and answer any of your questions that you have. But for everybody listening, thank you guys so much. Thank you for being here up till now. If this is your first time here, then you don't know any of these changes. But hey, hopefully you got something out of hearing us, and nice to meet you. And stick with us. Follow us on all the socials at Bacon Is My Podcast.
Nope.
At Bacon Is My Pod. Sorry.
Stay in the conversation. Hashtag what's your bacon?
Hashtag what's your bacon. And that's the goal. We want to find out what your bacon is, and we want to find out how we can all connect our bacons together. Right?
Yes. End-to-end bacon.
Yeah.
Just like this.
Docking some bacon.
What?
What?
It's messed up.
So until next time,
Always remember, please ask yourself one super important question. What is that escape? What's that thing you don't think needs to be a career? What's that mind numb?
what you nerding out on right now?
What's your bacon?
What's your bacon?
Let's go.
Yeah, man. Slick Vanilla J out.
I don't believe you.